Hi there, it's Adam Bushnell, the author. Thank you for joining me on this lovely Tuesday afternoon. It's 2:30 and we are live. Now, thank you very much for all of your stories and your pictures, etc. from last week's storytelling. I do have some to show you here. Not too many today, so I won't keep you. I am trying to keep the number down, but I've just picked out some of my favourites. Now, first of all, this one here is by Oliver. And this is a model of Shark Killer. And Shark Killer it can shoot fire out of its mouth and water from its bottom. Well done to you, Oliver. Oh, also, Shark Killer has got its sidekick, which is called Floppy. Love that. Next one. This is by Ellie. And this is Pinky the Unicorn, who can blow bubbles out of its horn. I love that. I think it looks fantastic. Then Jacob from Peterlee has created a picture of Hades in the underworld. I'm loving that. That looks fantastic. All that detail. There's Hades sitting on his throne made of bones saying, "Go away." Then we've got, this is by Heidi Towers, who's age 8 from Lumley Junior School, and she has created Hades and all of those monsters that are there in the underworld as well. There's Hades sitting on his throne and he's saying, "Shut up." This one is a monster with lots of arms, and this is by Riley, who is from Emmaville School. I love all those arms. And then this one, fantastic picture of a lion, which is going to link a little bit to what we're going to be talking about today. And this is by Kai and Mr. Woods at Easington Colliery. Hello to you guys. But the reason I've limited the number of pictures I'm showing on this stream is because I wanted to share this piece of writing with you. And this was written by Nina and her dad, and it is fantastic. This is continuing the story from not last week, but the week before with Odysseus. And Nina was the one who created the map with the zombie sheep, which I thought was awesome. Listen to the beginning of this. 2 years after Odysseus's crew helped him defeat the Cyclops, they were still on their journey home. On this particular day, the weather was extremely foggy. In fact, it was so foggy they could scarcely see the enormous strong waves ahead. There was a humongous storm. Waves were crashing, thunder was booming, and lightning was illuminating the sky. "Those waves are too treacherous to cross," Odysseus called out to his crew. "We shall rest on that island in the clearing." But little did they know what dangers they had to face. When they landed the ship, the clan went to take a nap. And while they were sleeping, the ship slowly began to sink. Yes, that's right, into the sand. When they awoke, their beloved ship was gone. "No!" cried Odysseus when he saw she had vanished. "We need to build a new raft," said Eurylochus softly. "We shall climb into those mountains and head east to the forest," commanded Odysseus. "It shouldn't take too long." Now, that's only just the beginning of the first chapter, and I think that's pure quality writing. Great job, you guys. But today we are talking about, well, something that you might notice here. I've got a dragon blanket, and on top of that dragon blanket there is a sword, which we're going to be looking at shortly. Now today, this story, which links to a book that, it's just above there, called Dragon Knight. Now, Dragon Knight links to the very first story that I told here on this YouTube channel. And the story that we're going to have today links to this flag here. Shout out if you know what flag that is. In fact, you could even put it on the live chat as well. Somebody tell me which flag this is and I'll have a look at the live chat. Now, it might be a familiar flag to you. You might also recognize that it has a name. The name of this flag is called the Something Cross. First person to answer was Emma Anyon, who got it right. It is the flag of England. Can we hear it? England! Now, the flag of England goes by a name. If you know what that name is, stick it in the live chat and we'll put it up there. I'll give you a little clue. It's called the Something Cross. Now, this cross here, it's not the Red Cross, that would make sense. But our flag in England is actually based upon another flag. Who's that? Kerry! Absolutely right. It's called the St. George's Cross. So our flag of England is named after the St. George. But our flag is based upon this flag here. Now, this is the flag of a particular country. If you know what country that is, then stick it in the live chat. Let's see who gets it first. It's a country. I'll give you a little bit of a clue. The name of this country links to that name, St. George. So, this flag used to be the flag of an order of knights who were called the Templars. And the Templars, if you've ever heard of the game Assassin's Creed, in the first Assassin's Creed game, that they were Templar knights that featured in that game. And we named our England flag and based our England flag upon the Templar flag. Anybody get what country this is? I'm going to have to tell you it's the country of Georgia. So this is the Georgian flag. It used to be the Templar flag, and we based our England flag upon that very idea. Our flag in England didn't used to look like that. Our flag in England used to look like this. Now, this is a flag with 3 lions on, and you'll still recognise 3 lions on the England football badge for the football team, but for the cricket team, and etc., etc. And that's to remember our old English flag. Now, who was St. George? Well, he's very famous for doing something. The story of St. George was about a knight who fought against a dragon. Now, St. George, in our story today, has a sword, a little bit like this one. But whenever he draws his sword, whenever he pulls it out of the case, he lets out a great and mighty battle cry. I want to hear your battle cries so loudly that I can hear them in my office. Are you ready? We're going to do it after 3. 1, 2, 3. Did you let out the great mighty battle cry when I did that? I don't think it was loud enough. Let's do it again. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Did you do it that time? It's important to get that loud and mighty battle cry. While you're stuck in the house, you have to amuse yourself somehow. Anyway, the story of St. George the Dragon is actually a legend, which means that it's got bits of truth in it. Myths are totally made up stories. If something is mythical, like a mythical monster, then it is made up. Whereas legends have got bits of truth in them. So, for example, stories of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, they may perhaps have been based upon real characters. But St. George was a real person. And St. George, historians now believe that he was a soldier in the Roman army and that he possibly came from Turkey. The bit with the dragon is the bit that's probably not true. But anyway, we're going to have the full not true story today here on this YouTube channel. Now remember, when I draw the sword, let out your great and mighty battle cry. A long time ago, in England, there was a dragon, a huge and ferocious creature. It had great bulging eyes of flame. It had spiky horns upon its head. Its teeth were long like pillars, and it had the most razor-sharp claws of any creature. Its huge, bat-like, leathery wings could take it soaring across the sky, and when it opened its mouth, it could spit fire. But this dragon's appetite was the only thing which matched its furious nature. It was always hungry, and it had developed a taste for human flesh. It was gobbling people up left, right, and centre. And so the people of England, they looked to their leader. They looked to their king, and they said, "Your Majesty, we must do something. Everybody in England will fall to this terrifying enemy." And so the king had a little think. He rubbed his chin. And there he said, "Aha! I know what to do. We shall gather every knight in England. We shall make the greatest armed force this world has ever seen. And these knights will bravely go into battle and fight against the dragon for me." And so knights were gathered from right across the whole of England, and they all charged as one on their horses, waving their swords and shouting out their own battle cries. But as soon as the dragon saw them, it took in a great big deep breath and let out a huge blast of fire, and every single one of those knights were burnt alive in their suit of armour, and they all fell down dead. Do we get a blip? Oh yes, good blurring, everybody, well done. And so the people who had witnessed this terrible battle marched back to the king's palace and told him what had happened. And they said, "Your Majesty, you must think of something else." So the king sat and pondered upon his throne. And then he came up with an idea. Aha! He said, I know what to do. We should all feed the dragon. And so everybody had to feed the dragon. Everybody had to give up what little food they had. Nobody was going outside. Nobody was tending to the farms. Nobody had any food. And what scraps they had were being offered up to the dragon. The dragon devoured all of this hungrily. But the dragon's favourite food was human flesh. And it didn't stop the dragon from eating people. So those brave enough to go outside, those that were left, marched back to the palace of the king and said, Your Majesty, you must think of another idea. The king sat thoughtfully. And the king, aha! He said, I know what to do. We shall ask my daughter. She is the cleverest person that I know. Daughter, come here. And so the princess came marching to the throne room. Yes, Your Majesty, said the princess. The king said, Daughter, what shall we do about this terrible dragon? Well, when the princess heard the whole tale and knew that the dragon wouldn't stop eating human flesh, knew that the dragon couldn't be stopped. And so the princess came up with an idea, quite a gruesome idea. She said, Everybody in England should go out into the fields and pick straws. And whoever gets the shortest straw should be fed to the dragon. And that way, only one person per day is eaten. Well, the king pondered this, said, My daughter, that's an excellent idea. Let us all go outside and pick straws. Well, everybody did. They all picked their straws. They all compared their straws to each other. And sure enough, it was discovered that the person with the shortest straw was the princess, the king's own daughter. Well, the same rules applied to her as everybody else. And so the king ordered, Take my daughter, tie her to a wooden stake over there and leave her to be fed to the dragon. Sorry about this, darling. But what can you do? So the princess, she was tied to a wooden stake. Everybody else left. She was abandoned. She was terrified. She was shaking with fear because she heard the flap of wings. And then she saw a dark shape emerging from the even darker clouds. The dragon was swooping down, getting closer and closer and closer still. The princess was shaking all over. Her knees were knocking, her arms were shaking, a little bit of wee came out. It was terrible. And just then the dragon landed with a thud on the floor. But just then, a knight who had been travelling to distant lands far away returned back to his beloved England. And when he saw the princess and he saw the dragon, St. George went galloping on his horse. He raced towards the pair. When he got close enough, he slipped down from his saddle. He ran over to the dragon. He got his sword at the ready, and after 3, he let out his great and mighty battle cry. 1, 2, 3. And that battle cry was so terrifying that the dragon bowed down low to St. George. St. George then untied the princess and wrapped that rope around the dragon's neck. And then he took the dragon on walkies like it was a dog and made him say sorry to all the people left in England that hadn't been burnt, eaten, or anything else. The dragon wandered about saying, Sorry, sorry, sorry. The princess turned round to St. George and said, Yes, St. George, you're my hero. Let's get married. But St. George looked at her bravely and said, Sorry, baby, but I can't. I have to travel the world, defeating dragons wherever I go. But if ever you need my help, all you need to do is to call out, St. George, and I will always come back to help you. If ever we needed St. George more, we need him now. I wonder if he can come up with a cure for the coronavirus. That would be fantastic. That story was performed right across England on St. George's Day. It's usually done as a big performance where people are dressed up as all the different characters, and it's meant to be like a comedy as well as it being a tragedy, as well as it being an adventure story. Now, our flag, as I mentioned earlier on, is called the St. George's Cross, named after that story. But the colours on this flag mean different things as well. The cross represents Christianity. The red represents strength, and the white represents peace. And dragons wore things called tabards over their armour. And St. George and all the rest of the Templar Knights probably had a tabard like this one. This is the sort of thing that knights would wear over the top, and their colours all meant different things. Today's activity relating to that story could be you designing your own knight character. And what your knight wears reflects that knight's personality, the colours that that knight wears. If they believe in peace, they would wear white. If they are strong, they would wear red. And instead of having a cross, they might have, like our old England flag, 3 lions on it. And having lions on your tabard meant that you were brave. So we've got red again, meaning strong, and white again, meaning peace. There were 10 colours that knights used to use, not just red and white for strength and peace, but also blue to show that they were loyal and that they were a good friend, just like I'm a good friend to you. Or yellow, which meant that they were kind and that they were generous. Or they had green, which meant they believed in hope. They were hoping for something. They also had orange, which meant they wanted to be the best. Brown, which meant that they were a winner. Purple, because they believed in things being fair. They believed in justice. Black, because they were sad about something. Or pink, because they believed in love. I'll run through those 10 very quickly again. And to help you to remember them, we'll do an action that goes with each one. Red meant strength. Can everybody go? Urgh. White meant peace. Can we all say, la? Blue meant that you were a good friend. Could you hold your own hand and say, ah? Yellow meant being kind and generous. Can everybody say, there you go? Green meant you believed in hope. Can you cross your fingers and say, please, please, please? Orange meant you wanted to be the best. Can you look at somebody near you and say, I want to be the best? Brown meant that you were a winner. Can everybody say, I win? Nice job. Purple meant that you believed in justice and things being fair. Can you do your best Batman voice and say, it's got to be fair? Nice one. Black meant that you were sad. Can everybody say, oh? And pink meant you believed in love. Can everybody say, ooh la la? So the colours that your knight wore all mean different things. And also, they would have had things like gauntlets. A bit like Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet. They would have wore metal armour like this to not only keep them safe, not only to protect them, but also to use as a weapon. These are the sort of things that your knight could be wearing. And your knight might have a helmet, like this one, upon his or her head. Or, if you don't want the sword, you could have different weapons. For example, you could have an axe that your knight has got. Or you could have one of these things, which is known as a morning star. It's a bit like a mace or a flail. This one, here we have a mace as well, a big spiky club. But my favourite one is this. This is a war hammer. And you've got this spiky bit to get in between the gaps in the armour. This spiky bit to go through the tops of helmets. And this bit here to crush bones. There's a war hammer. Your knight could have one of those. Now, your knight that you design might look a bit like that one. And this knight has got a deer on the top of his or her head and a deer on the shield. A deer meant that you were very skillful. And the colour red was, as we mentioned, for strength. Well, this knight is wearing lots of green because he or she is hoping for something. Now, this knight has got dragon symbols. And if you had a dragon, that meant that you were a protector. This knight is wearing blue to show that he or she is a good friend. And they have got an eagle. Anything with wings, like a type of bird, meant that you were super fast. This knight is sad and is wearing black. And this knight has an ox or a bull on the top of his or her helmet to show that they are strong. Or your knight could look like that, with a curved sword and a wooden shield. Or she might look like that, where she's still kind of got a dress, but she's also got a crown that's acting as a helmet as well. Send me your designs of your own knights. I would love to see them. And remember to use the colours that you think best reflect the personality of your knight. Think about which animals you'd put on there. There's some fantastic websites like heraldry.com that explains all the animals and what they mean as well. If you wanted to design a dragon to go with your knight, on my YouTube channel, there is the How to Draw a Dragon video that's on there, which you can look at that later on. And then send me your pictures, send me your writings, send me your models. I love to receive them all. And I am trying to show as many as I possibly can. So the next storytelling session will be on Thursday at 2:30. In the meantime, Quests and Epica, there's a new chapter on the days that I'm not doing live storytelling. So I think we're up to about chapter 4, which will be going live, and that'll be tomorrow. Now, I do have some shout outs, people. First of all, to Dean House Primary School, hello to Team 3. 3A to be specific. Hello to Nexo from the British Vietnamese International School. Hi to you, my friends in Vietnam. Hopefully I'll see you again soon. Hi also to my friends at the British School of Guangzhou. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Hello to Rosa and Ziva Beasley from Victoria Lane Academy. Shout out to Cable, Lily Rose and Kai from Heselden. Shout out to Ella McCarthy, who's 6 years old. Hi to you. A big shout out to St. Joseph's staff and children from Stanley. Stay awesome, you guys. Hello to Henry, Oliver and Matilda in Birmingham. And your grandma says that she's going to see you very soon. Keep watching. Hello to Freddie Fort, goes to St. Bede's in Sacriston. What a writer this person is. He's up to chapter 7 of a book that he's writing called The Neon Dragons, based upon this YouTube channel. So thank you. You keep on going. You keep on writing. Hi to Caleb, Lily Rose and Kai. I've already done that one. You've got 2 shout outs. That's not fair. Hello to Tyler at St. John's. I hope you're doing good. Hello to Rosa and Ziva Beasley from Vic Lane. I think I've already done that one as well. You've got 2 shout outs. What's going on today? Hi to Ava Lenahan. Nice to see you tuning in. Hello to Isaac and Colliery, to Mr. Woods, Mrs. Wilkinson, and all the children there. Hi to you guys. And finally, to Gabriella Golden, who's aged 9 years old, and to Beatrix Golden, who is 7 years old. Phew! A lot of shout-outs today. I did as many as I possibly can. Well, thank you again for tuning in. Remember, if you do want shout-outs, if you do want to send me your writing, your ideas for where you like to do your reading, if you want to send me some models and some pictures, and especially those knights and dragons from today's post, you can get in touch either via my website, adambushnell.com, but I'm also on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram, and I'm on Twitter, and it's either Adam Bushnell or Author Adam, so give me a nudge there. Don't forget, the reason that I'm doing this is because we can't go outside, but reading takes us to amazing places. So keep reading, keep writing. And don't forget to subscribe and like and to tell all of your friends. My friend, Liz Million, who's an illustrator of books, she has just set up her own YouTube channel as well. So make sure you're tuning into Liz Million's YouTube channel. You could do that straight after this. Don't forget to subscribe and like there too. So I shall see you all on Thursday. In the meantime, get watching and listening to Quests and Epica, which is currently featuring Belle the dog. And she couldn't be bothered to join in today, by the way. But I want to make sure it's different all the time as well. So I will see you on Thursday. Don't forget to send me your nights. Bye for now, everybody. Keep reading, keep writing, and well done to all of you. You're doing a great job.